This is the Blazer that I've had since I was 16 years old. I mean, I've had other vehicles. They've come and gone. But you always hear the story of the people that had, oh man, I wish I still had my first truck. Or I still wish I had this car. I just never sold mine, Chris Ushelman, Committed Car Club, Katy, Texas. Pretty much my dad was a mechanic for 35 years, I believe. So I grew up around cars. I grew up at dealerships, 70s and 80s. I got to see all the new cars coming out. So he'd take me to the dealership, I'd help him work. And that kind of, built my love for cars. We'd work on our own cars at the house, or we'd work on his cars at the house. I was too young at that point. Just being around the cars was fun. He also had some buddies of his that were Top Fuel dragsters. They had their own team. So in the evenings when he'd go help them work on their cars, he would take me with him. I was just a little kid, So they'd put me on these meaningless little journeys and, go fetch this and go fetch that. But I was still there and I was still part of it. And it was fun for me. They'd light the motor off, scare the crap out of me. But I loved it, I guess that's what, I guess that's what made me love cars. Just having that. My first vehicle is the one sitting behind me, 1985 S-10 Blazer. Got it when I was 16. Had it ever since. Pretty much when I got this truck when I was 16, got a loan from my grandfather. He's like, all right, here's your truck. Now you go get a job and you earn it. So I had to go find a job. I worked at a veterinary clinic, and my first day of work, I pull around the back of the clinic, and sitting right there is the exact same truck. Exact same Blazer, exact same colors, red and gray. But his was static dropped, had some hurricanes on it, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty good. I kind of like that. So as I continued to work there, we kind of went back and forth in our own little competition. I finally got mine dropped, got some wheels on it, started putting the GTS headlight covers, bug guard, saved up enough to get my fender trim. Things back in the day that were custom, I even got into Flexstone and on the interior, we had, the bigger the stereo, the better back then. So we did the big stereos and all that. And that was just kind of a little competition we did between the two of us. But that kind of got me into it, honestly. To go full custom, probably goes back to my dad again, him and his hot rods and showing me what he built back in the day. Just decided to take it another level. I kept doing all the bolt-ons, the fender trim and all that. Finally did my first paint job, changed it to black. I think it was a black pearl. Even had the ground effects on it. And then one day we decided, or I guess I decided that I wanted to do the full-blown custom. So we ripped all the interior out and cut the floor out of it. It's like, we're gonna do a body drop. Don't know how to do it, never done one before, but we'll figure it out. We'll cut it up. So we did that. He kind of looked at me, we just got done painting it the year before, and why are we cutting this thing up again? I think it's time to change it again. You sure you don't want to get another truck, a different truck to do this with? I'm like, no, it's the Blazer, I got to keep doing the Blazer. So we did it. Cut the floor out, did a 6-inch body drop on it. While I had the motor out of it, we were actually building him a truck at the time. And he needed a motor, so we threw the motor into his truck. But yeah, before I did that, I had full tweed interior in it, and he just he didn't understand the whole point of redoing it at that point. So we did it, just start ripping interior out and cut it up. Mini trucker thing, cut it up, make it look good. Before I did the body drop, I actually had a blown 350 in it before. Wasn't quite like this one, but it was a small block with a blower on it. And that's the one that we ended up putting in his truck. So of course I needed to build another motor to put in mine. And that's where this one came from. The graphics are based off of Tri-5 Chevys, just kind of a mixture of Tri-5 Chevys, which again comes from me and my dad building the truck. We would spend a couple of nights a week in the shop after work and just start building cars. And a lot of this truck has his influence in it. It's got the mini truck style from me, but it's also got the hot rod style from him. And he's kind of the one that helped me build the motors on it, and kind of where the graphics came from. the 65 Chevy truck dash in it. It's the old school interior. So it's just kind of a collaboration between the two of us is what this truck kind of turned out to be. This truck was finished in '05. The only thing I've done to it since then is change the tires, put some gas in it. This is basically a Minitruckin build that got out of control. Never built it intended to race it, never put a roll bar in it. It's just, you always try to top yourself and build something a little bit bigger, a little bit better, and why not throw a blowing small block in it? I tried bringing my children into this. Kind of like when I was a kid, being around the dragsters and all that. This truck scared the crap out of my kids when they were smaller. They call it the loud truck. Every time I cranked it up, they would run. They didn't like it. It scared them. But yes, my son and I, we go to Autoramas, and he goes to a couple car shows with me here and there. He doesn't have the full passion for it yet. He's still into video games and things of that nature, but I could foresee him wanting to be a part of it. I do have a car right now that's stock, but I've only had it a few months. Haven't really had time to do anything with it. Pretty much the only vehicle I'm not allowed to touch is my wife's. So she's like, you can do whatever you want to your own vehicles, but don't touch mine. Doing the custom vehicles and showing them and going to shows and being part of the clubs, you meet a lot of people. I've been in it for 25 years or more. A lot of people I still am friends with. There's a lot of my best friends that I've met in the car scene. And every time you go to a car show, it's kind of like a family reunion. You kind of run into a lot of people you haven't seen in a while, hang out for the weekend, and then if you don't hear from them, you always see them at the next car show. Yeah, even though this is the Blazer that I've had since I was 16 years old. I mean, I've had other vehicles. They've come and gone. But you always hear the story of the people that had, oh man, I wish I still had my first truck. Or I still wish I had this car. I just never sold mine, I just kept playing with it and changing it and getting it to where it is now. Very sentimental, yeah. Everybody asks me, how come you don't repaint it or how come you don't change it? I'm like, it's what it is. This is what I envisioned back in '05 when I finished this truck. Yeah, it's been through all of its paces and all the trends and all throughout the years. Pearl paint jobs, tweed, stereos, 15x10 tri-fans, all the old school stuff y'all can think of has probably been on this truck at one point. That's where it's at now. And I'll probably never change it. It'll probably be this way forever. And I'll probably never sell it.
Would it be something you would pass on to your kids?
I will, yeah. As long as they don't sell it. They're gonna have to hold on to it too.
In your will.
Yep. They're gonna have to keep it as long as I have.
That's a long time.